Let's start with a simple question. When a man already has a partner, whether that's a girlfriend or a wife, what does it really mean if he still seeks you out? When a man who already has a girlfriend or a wife starts chasing you, one of the most common reasons is that he's looking for an ego boost. And here's the interesting part. Most of the time, it actually has very little to do with you. It's not about your smile, your charm, or your presence, though those may be what attract him in the first place. What he's really chasing is the feeling he gets about himself when you respond to him. Think about it. If a man is already in a relationship, he already has someone who validates him, who gives him attention, who acknowledges his worth. But over time, that validation starts to feel less powerful because it comes from the same source. It's like hearing the same song over and over again. No matter how beautiful the melody is, it stops giving you that spark after the 100th time. So when another woman shows him interest, suddenly he feels alive again. He feels desired. And that's not about love. It's about vanity. This is why for many men, flirting outside of their relationship is less about leaving their partner and more about proving something to themselves. They want to know, am I still attractive? Do I still have the power to make a woman feel something for me? Can I still turn heads? In that moment, your reaction becomes a scorecard for his self-worth. The danger here is subtle, because when he gives you attention, it's easy to feel special. You might even think, if he's risking his relationship just to talk to me, I must be really important to him. But the truth is, he's not risking his relationship for you. He's risking it for the way he feels when he's with you. You become a mirror that reflects back the image he wants to see: confident, desirable, powerful. And here's the trap. If you confuse his need for an ego boost with genuine attraction or love, you'll start giving energy to a dynamic that only feeds him but leaves you empty. Because an ego boost doesn't require depth. It doesn't require investment. It only requires that you respond. And once that need is satisfied, he can walk back into his relationship without giving you the commitment you might secretly hope for. So when you notice a man in a relationship chasing you, pay close attention to how much of his energy is about you and how much of it is about himself. If every word, every glance, every compliment feels like it's about making him feel like the man again, then what you're dealing with isn't love. It's a man trying to polish his ego at your expense. When a man in a committed relationship seeks you out, one of the most common reasons is escapism. And what does that really mean? It means he's not necessarily running toward you. He's running away from something in his own life. Maybe his relationship has become predictable. Maybe his responsibilities feel heavy. Maybe he's facing stress at work, at home, or even within himself. Instead of dealing with those challenges, he looks for a shortcut, a temporary relief, something that takes the edge off. And in that moment, you become the escape route. Think about how people behave when they feel stuck. Some people binge watch TV. Some people drown themselves in work. Others scroll endlessly on their phone just to avoid reality. For a man in a relationship, chasing another woman can become that same coping mechanism. It's not that you're his solution, it's that you're his distraction. You represent novelty, excitement, and most importantly, a break from whatever feels heavy in his current world. The tricky part is that when he seeks you in this way, it can look very intense. He might be texting constantly, trying to see you as often as he can, or pouring out his frustrations about his partner, his job, or his life. And if you're not careful, you might mistake this intensity for love or passion. But what's really happening is that he's using you as an escape hatch. You're the temporary vacation from his problems, not the person he's planning to build a future with. And here's why this becomes so unfair. Because while you might be investing emotionally, believing this could lead to something more, he's often only invested in the role you play as a relief from his reality. Once he feels lighter, once he gets that taste of excitement, he doesn't suddenly turn around and fix his problems by committing to you. He usually goes back to his relationship, or he finds another escape when the thrill fades. That's why escapism is so dangerous in these situations. It creates a false sense of connection. You're not connecting with who he is at his core. You're connecting with the version of him that's trying to run away. And if a man is running away from his life, the question you need to ask is, what happens when the chase is over and reality catches up? When a man who already has a girlfriend or a wife seeks you out, one of the biggest truths is this: very often he's looking for convenience without commitment. And that's a dangerous place for you to be, because convenience means he gets the fun, the spark, the novelty, but without the weight of responsibility that comes with actually building a relationship. Think about it. In his existing relationship, there are expectations, there are responsibilities, there are things he has to show up for, whether it's emotional support, shared decisions, family duties, or simply the consistency of being present every day. But with you, he can carve out only the parts he wants. He can pick and choose. Maybe it's late night texts, maybe it's secret meetups, maybe it's flirtation when he's bored. You become a slice of excitement he indulges in without having to invest in the whole pie. And here's the crucial part. Convenience feels flattering at first. You might think, he's making an effort to see me, he's risking something just to be with me, so it must mean I'm important. But if you look closer, the effort is often selective. He'll reach out when it suits him, when he has the time, when he feels lonely, or when he's craving attention. But when you need consistency, reassurance, or clarity, suddenly there's silence, suddenly he can't be there, because his loyalty, or at least his responsibilities, still lie somewhere else. Convenience also explains why so many men in relationships draw lines they never cross. He may talk about how unhappy he is at home, or how much better things feel when he's around you. He may even promise change in vague terms like, "One day I'll figure things out," or "You're the only person who really gets me." But those words are designed to keep the convenience alive. They're not commitments, they're just placeholders. Placeholders to make sure you stay available when he wants you. And here's where it becomes really unfair to you, because while you might be hoping this temporary situation will turn into a permanent choice, he's often doing everything he can to avoid making a choice at all. Why would he, when the situation benefits him exactly as it is? At home, he has stability, maybe love, maybe security. With you, he has passion, thrill, and validation. From his perspective, it's perfect. From yours, it's exhausting. So when a man in a relationship seeks you out, always look for the signs of convenience. How much effort is he putting in when it's not easy for him? How often does he show up for you when there's nothing in it for him? Because if the pattern is that you only get the crumbs of his time, the scraps of his attention, then what he's really saying is, "I want you, but only when it's convenient for me." When a man in a relationship comes to you, one of the less obvious but very common reasons is that he's looking for an emotional crutch. This isn't always about attraction in the physical sense. Sometimes what he's seeking is someone who will listen to him, validate him, and make him feel understood in ways he doesn't feel he's getting at home. You become the place he goes when he needs to unload his frustrations, his doubts, or his insecurities. And here's where it gets complicated. On the surface, it feels like intimacy. He's opening up. He's telling you things he doesn't share with his partner. He's trusting you with his vulnerabilities. That can create a very strong bond, because we naturally equate openness with connection. You might even start believing, if he can't talk to her about these things, but he talks to me, then maybe I'm the one he really loves. But what's really happening is that you've become his safe outlet, his pressure valve. You're not necessarily the solution to his problems. You're simply the space where he temporarily feels lighter. This role can feel meaningful, but it's also incredibly one-sided. Because when you're someone's emotional crutch, the dynamic is about what you can provide for them, not what they're prepared to give back to you. You're constantly listening, supporting, encouraging, but what do you get in return? Usually, not much. Instead of reciprocity, you end up with a man who leans on you heavily but doesn't offer the stability of choosing you fully. The truth is, many men seek out emotional comfort from someone else, not because they plan to leave their partner, but because it allows them to maintain their current situation without addressing the deeper issues. If he's unhappy in his relationship, he could have the hard conversations, face the discomfort, or make a decision to change things. But if you're there to soothe his pain, he doesn't have to. He gets relief without responsibility, and that relief makes him less motivated to take real action. This is why being someone's emotional crutch can feel intoxicating at first, but draining over time. Because instead of building a balanced relationship, you're filling a gap that was never yours to fill. He feels better after talking to you, but you're left holding the weight of emotions that were never truly yours. And once he feels restored enough, He goes back to his partner, leaving you in the uncomfortable position of being the support system without being the chosen one. When a man who is already in a relationship seeks you out, one of the strongest forces at play can be the thrill of the forbidden. It's not always about who you are as a person. It's about the fact that you represent something he isn't supposed to have. The secrecy, the chase, the idea of breaking the rules creates a rush, almost like an adrenaline hit. And that rush can be addictive. Think about how people behave when they're told, you can't have this. Suddenly that thing becomes 10 times more desirable. It's not the object itself, it's the feeling of rebellion, of sneaking past boundaries, of tasting what's off limits. For some men, seeking someone outside of their relationship has nothing to do with dissatisfaction at home and everything to do with the excitement of crossing a line. You're not just a person in his eyes, you're an adventure, a secret, a forbidden door he gets to open. And here's why this is so dangerous. When the thrill is the main attraction, it's not sustainable. Because once the secrecy fades, once the forbidden becomes familiar, the excitement dies down. If what drew him to you was the danger of being caught, the novelty of sneaking around, then once that novelty wears off, so does his desire. You weren't pursued because you were the missing piece of his life. You were pursued because you were the forbidden fruit he couldn't resist tasting. This explains why some men act so passionately in the beginning. They may shower you with compliments, risk getting caught, or even say things like, I've never felt this way before. It all feels intense, urgent, intoxicating. But that intensity is not the same as depth. It's fueled by the excitement of danger, not the intention to build something lasting. Once the thrill fades, he may either retreat back to his stable life or go searching for a new forbidden thrill elsewhere. And here's the part most people overlook. When you're pulled into this kind of dynamic, you end up mistaking adrenaline for connection. The butterflies you feel when he texts you late at night, the rush of secrecy when he sneaks away to see you, it feels powerful, but it's situational, not personal. You're not feeling the strength of a healthy bond, you're feeling the intensity of something that's not supposed to be happening. And intensity without commitment often leaves you emptier than you were before. When a man in a relationship seeks you out, one of the most revealing truths is that he's showing himself that he doesn't have to choose. He learns that he can keep his stability at home while still enjoying the excitement of something new on the side. And if you allow that dynamic to continue, he realizes he can have both without paying the price of commitment, honesty, or sacrifice. Think about what real choice requires. It requires courage to leave one relationship and start another. A man would have to confront the messiness of ending things, deal with guilt, face uncomfortable conversations, and actually commit to a new path. That's hard, that takes accountability. But if you're willing to give him your attention, your affection, or even your intimacy without demanding clarity, he gets to avoid all of that. He gets the illusion of freedom without the reality of consequences. This is why so many men in this position drag things out for months, sometimes years. They'll say things like, it's complicated, or I just need time to figure things out. But deep down, they're not working toward a decision. They're working toward preserving the comfort of having both worlds. At home, he gets loyalty, perhaps even family stability. With you, he gets novelty, excitement, and the ego boost of being desired. Why would he voluntarily give up one when he can keep both? And here's the part that stings the most. The longer you allow yourself to be in this situation, the more you teach him that he doesn't need to choose. Every time you accept being the secret, every time you forgive broken promises, every time you settle for half measures, you're reinforcing his belief that this arrangement works just fine for him. You end up carrying the cost while he collects all the benefits. The irony is that the very thing you might be hoping for, him finally choosing you, becomes less and less likely the longer the situation continues, because he no longer has an incentive to make that leap. He already gets the comfort of a partner and the thrill of someone new. In his mind, why risk losing either? What you see is temporary while he figures things out. He sees as the perfect balance of having it all. That's the brutal truth behind this kind of pursuit. A man who seeks you while already in a relationship isn't showing you he's torn between two great loves. He's showing you he's unwilling to face the discomfort of choosing, and until he's forced to make that choice, he'll keep proving to himself and to you that he doesn't have to. At the end of the day, when a man seeks you while he already has a girlfriend or a wife, it's rarely about building something real with you. It's about what he gets out of it. An ego boost, an escape from reality, the convenience of your presence without commitment, the comfort of your emotional support, the thrill of breaking rules, or the reassurance that he never has to choose. But the bigger question isn't really about him. It's about you. What do you want for yourself? Do you want to be someone's secret, their distraction, their temporary fix, or do you want to be someone's partner, someone's choice, someone's priority? Because the truth is, the kind of love that lasts, the kind of connection that fulfills, doesn't come from being someone's escape. It comes from being with someone who is brave enough to choose you fully, who doesn't hide you, who doesn't use you to fill a gap, but who shows up and says, "You are it, you are my person." So the choice is in your hands. You can spend your time trying to interpret his mixed signals. Or you can decide that your value is too high to accept anything less than someone's whole heart. And when you make that decision, when you stop settling for attention and start demanding intention, that's the moment you step into the kind of love you truly deserve.